Today, we will be covering a true story about a boy being kidnapped. Since this is a true story, we will not be making any jokes. School teacher Tiffany and Kobe, her 6-year-old son with her Korean ex-boyfriend Jeffrey Lee, live with Tiffany's husband Chris, who loves Kobe as his own, in Queens, New York. Tiffany's mom, Belzora, persistently opposes Jeffrey taking Kobe on their first father and son trip out of state, a trip to Disney World in Florida, saying it's a bad idea. Tiffany reminds her that the court said that Jeffrey can spend a week with Kobe every summer, and that she has to co-parent with Jeffrey since he's his father. She adds that Jeffrey has changed and has earned the right to take Kobe on a vacation. Jeffrey fetches Kobe, who excitedly hugs him. After taking a photo of them, Tiffany says goodbye to Kobe, and Jeffrey assures her that he'll take good care of him. After not talking to Kobe for 4 days, Tiffany, who misses Kobe so much, calls the inn Jeffrey said they're going to stay at, only to learn that they are not there. After not hearing from Jeffrey, Tiffany and Chris check if there's any accident involving the car Jeffrey is driving, which thankfully there isn't. The next morning, Tiffany bribes Jeffrey's apartment building supervisor to let her in so she can check his apartment for any clues on where they could have gone. To her horror, Jeffrey's apartment is empty. Tiffany reports Jeffrey and Kobe's disappearance, saying Jeffrey has moved out of his apartment, has lied about where they're going, and has a history of not returning Kobe on time. Since Jeffrey is not due back until Sunday, Officer Gomez tells her that they just have to wait since he still has 2 days left with Kobe. Tiffany visits Jeffrey's girlfriend Natalie, hoping she can tell her where Jeffrey is, but Natalie informs her that she broke up with him because he lost his job and got crazy, and she refuses to spiral down with him. Later that night, Tiffany hacks into Jeffrey's email account and finds an email from a girl named Nicole, saying she'd love to meet him in Honolulu, which she shows Officer Gomez and Officer Leone the next day. Tired of them not acting on her case, she asks Officer Gomez, who's also a mother, if she'll just calmly wait for her lost kid to show up like she wants her to do, prompting Officer Gomez to take her case seriously. After checking Jeffrey and Kobe's JFK departure details, the officers inform her that on Monday, Jeffrey flew to South Korea with Kobe, causing Tiffany to sob and go hysterical. Officer Gomez then passes her case to the FBI. Tiffany and Chris print out missing flyers and send out envelopes to Korean authorities, including the Embassy of the United States in Seoul. Tiffany then meets with Agent DeGrazia, the FBI agent assigned to her case, who tells her that they have a federal warrant for Jeffrey's arrest for forging Kobe's passport. Another agent tells her that they'll make a case to the South Korean government for Kobe's return and promises to keep her informed. Agent Walters, the family liaison officer, informs Tiffany that South Korea never signed the Hague Treaty, which requires all the countries who signed it to abide by each other's custody decisions. So there's the issue of who has the jurisdiction. When Tiffany asks what happens if the South Korean government turns them down, she says she can bring a lawsuit to South Korea, but until then, she must stay patient and let them do their job. Tiffany creates a fake dating account with the name Renita, using the photo of her friend and fellow school teacher, Sophia. Tiffany, Belzora, and Sophia send Jeffrey a flirty message, hoping he'll take the bait and reveal his whereabouts. While Chris is willing to take out loans and borrow money from family and friends so they can pay detectives, a frustrated Tiffany opposes getting them because they can't guarantee Kobe's return. When she tells Chris that Kobe is not his problem because he's her son, a hurt Chris asks her not to cut him out. When they arrive home, Tiffany is overjoyed to see that Jeffrey has responded to Renita. Sophia, as the sultry Renita, flirts with Jeffrey in a video call, while Tiffany, Chris, and Belzora are behind her laptop, coaching her on what to ask him. When Jeffrey is about to tell her where he'll meet her, Kobe runs up to him. Unfortunately, Tiffany can't stop herself from calling Kobe, blowing their cover. Kobe hears her, but Jeffrey immediately ends the call. The next day, the devastated Tiffany goes through her mail and finds a letter from the United States Department of State informing her that they found Kobe. Agent DeGrazia informs Tiffany that Kobe is in Seoul, Korea, and that Jeffrey claimed that he needed to take Kobe because he was suffering physical abuse and neglect and was in danger at Tiffany's home. He claimed that he is a victim of racial attitudes against Koreans in the US, which led to unfair court decisions, and wishes to not be in contact with Tiffany. When the report said that Kobe doesn't wish to be in contact with her, Tiffany believes that it's Jeffrey who said it. Agent DeGrazia says they have Kobe's address, but they can't just barge in and take him because they need the Korean authorities' permission. She also refuses to give Tiffany the address, as sharing such information is against agency policy, and they don't want to encourage the involved parties to take matters into their own hands, enraging Tiffany. Tiffany spends most of her time crying in bed, prompting Belzora to urge her to pull herself together. Feeling guilty, Tiffany says she should have listened to her when she told her not to allow Kobe to go with Jeffrey. Belzora admits that she is partially responsible because she made it hard for her to see her father, which made Tiffany try so hard to keep Jeffrey in Kobe's life. Belzora arranges a meeting between Tiffany and Mark Miller, the man referred by Reverend Lewis, thinking he might be able to help her. Mark runs a charitable organization called the American Association for Lost Children, which helps missing children reunite with their families. Tiffany shares with Mark the details of the case and how frustrated she is with how it's going. Unfortunately, Mark tells her that he can't help her because he doesn't have contacts in South Korea, which is very important. Before she leaves, Tiffany asks him how she should go about it if she were to retrieve Kobe on her own. Although Mark discourages her from doing it because it's dangerous and can even cause her to serve serious time in Korean prison, he shares that teachers often have websites where they share information, which helped them before. He suggests that she post Kobe's information on a couple of Korean teachers' websites, saying she might get a response if Kobe is attending a Korean school. Months after posting on teachers' websites, as Mark suggested, Simon, a part-time English teacher in the school Kobe is attending in Seoul, South Korea, calls Tiffany using a payphone. He informs her that Kobe is physically okay, but he's having a hard time adjusting, and the other kids ignore him or bully him because he's a foreigner, and advises her to take Kobe out of there. Tiffany asks for his help, but he refuses to say where Kobe is or give his mobile number because Jeffrey is his legal parent there, and helping her will be aiding in a kidnapping. Before he hangs up, he promises to call her again. Willing to risk everything to retrieve Kobe, Tiffany decides to fly to South Korea. Mark offers to go with her so they'll have a better chance of successfully retrieving Kobe. Chris insists on going with them, but Tiffany asks him to stay so he can raise Kobe in case something happens to her. Although he doesn't want to, the worried Chris agrees to stay when Tiffany promises that she and Kobe will return. Simon calls again, and Tiffany prays with family and friends before their departure. As soon as Tiffany and Mark arrive in South Korea, they meet with Simon, who informs them that Jeffrey might be suspecting that they're coming to get Kobe because Kobe's teacher said that Jeffrey will be taking him out of school. Using the map Simon gave them, Tiffany and Mark plan how they're going to take Kobe, and Mark does a mock execution of their plan, timing everything to avoid getting caught by the police. Mark then comforts a nervous Tiffany, saying she won't mess up and Kobe will at least know that she cared enough to try getting him back. On a Friday, Tiffany and Mark go to Kobe's school, where they see Jeffrey. After Jeffrey leaves, Tiffany enters the school and starts looking for Kobe's classroom, while Mark waits for them outside. To Mark's horror, Jeffrey returns to give Kobe the book he has left, prompting him to quickly go after Tiffany to warn her. Fortunately, seconds before Jeffrey walks into the hallway Tiffany is in, Mark is able to find her and pull her inside a classroom, where there's an ongoing class. They then talk to the teacher to buy some time. After Jeffrey leaves, Mark heads out while Tiffany enters Kobe's classroom, prompting a surprised Kobe to run and hug her. Tiffany tells Kobe's teacher that she's his mother and that she needs to talk to him. She pulls him out of class, and in the hallway, Kobe tells Tiffany that Jeffrey said that she doesn't want him, prompting her to say that it's a lie. The trio successfully passes through a friendly and unsuspecting school security guard, and they then go through separate paths to avoid the police. Tiffany makes Kobe wear a disguise, but when she can't find him while they're at a market, she repeatedly calls out his name, prompting Jeffrey, who's nearby, to hear her. Jeffrey chases Tiffany and Kobe, who successfully get to Mark, who's waiting for them at a taxi stand. The trio later arrives at the U.S. Embassy 2 minutes before it closes. Kobe tells the consular officer that he wants to go home with Tiffany and that he's worried that Jeffrey will be mad at him and will come and take him back. When the consular officer informs Tiffany and Mark that Jeffrey reported them and there are warrants out for their arrest, Mark shows her the court order of Tiffany's sole custody of Kobe and Jeffrey's warrant of arrest. To their delight, she allows them to leave, and Kobe is given a temporary passport. Assuming that authorities will look for them on the plane to New York, Mark buys tickets to Tokyo, planning to change planes there. At the airport, Tiffany and Mark separate, and Tiffany asks Kobe to go with Mark. Jeffrey appears at the airport and asks Tiffany where Kobe is, threatening to call the cops on her since he's his legal guardian there. He negotiates that she let him have Kobe, promising to bring him back for the holidays, and even begs to at least let him tell Kobe that he loves him, but she refuses. She tells him that he doesn't love Kobe and only kidnapped him to get back at her, prompting Jeffrey to tell her that she shouldn't have left him because they were a real family. Tiffany tells him that he doesn't know what family is and leaves to board the plane. Tiffany, Kobe, and Mark safely return to New York. They reunite with Belzora and Chris, who are waiting for them at the LaGuardia airport. Soon, Jeffrey attempts to book a flight to the US and is arrested in Guam. He is then tried and convicted of kidnapping.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.